Call this meeting to order at 6:02. Approval of the minutes of August 13th.
Move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
We have a motion to accept the minutes as recorded in a second. So I
We
have
don't do it anymore, do we? Okay, sorry.
Did you second?
Yes.
Yes. So I have a question for you, Debbie. Since I wasn't here then, I really shouldn't vote. Is it still going to be able to pass?
You abstain,
Well, yes.
that's all.
And, okay.
And you can still move, second, here or not. But you can't, you vote to abstain if you were out,
Okay. I abstain.
okay?
All those in favor?
I think I also have to abstain.
I don't remember. And Zyra wasn't here either.
Oh, I was here actually.
Oh, you were,
And then,
was 2
cause,
months ago.
yeah, cause we canceled the September meeting. I wasn't
Right.
gonna be here. Okay.
It's a long time ago. We forget.
Oh,
It's 2 months ago. Were you here?
I was here. Sorry, I thought that the tour counted as a meeting.
It would have, but we didn't have a quorum, and we didn't do the tour because of bad weather.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't going to go to that anyway. Cool. So then, never mind.
So how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay.
It was bad weather a day late, but yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I assume they passed.
Yes.
Did we have any interested citizens or? Nope. We're doing just roll here. Hey, we might beat Brian. Grant request. I used to have a pencil in this.
I see a red light on, it must be on.
I don't even have grant requests on here at all.
It's on the back side.
Okay. No, I mean, I have the copy, but I do not.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I copied the one, I gave you, I copied the ones that I made a couple weeks ago before the grant request came in. So that's what you have, but on the back you have the grant request.
Oh, well, I just downloaded the one you had out today, so I.
That's one I have on my phone. I was just looking at the paper. We're good.
Well, how are you gardeners today?
We're good.
So you need
Weathering the
deeper
weather.
dirt out there where you're gardening?
Pardon me?
You need deeper dirt, do you?
Do we put
You're gonna need deeper soil out there?
deeper? We're gonna fix her up
Okay.
again, hopefully.
Want to talk to us about it?
Yes, I'm Peggy Moore. I live in Kaiser, and tonight I'm representing the Peggy and Jerry Moore Community Garden, which is a partner with Marion Polk Food Share.
What a great name.
You gotta talk louder. Yeah, I'm Jerry Moore, I'm the other half of this one here. And we're from Garden right in back out here. But we're in here tonight asking for a matching grant. We want to replace all the beds with treated lumber, take all the old lumber out that's rotted and put all new treated 2x10s in to make the beds 4 inches deeper so they'll be able to grow better root crops. And the treated wood will last approximately 20-25 years. So it'll be a one-time shot for us and have it up looking really nice, really nice. It looks nice now, but it's gonna look a lot nicer. But what we have is, we've given the copy of what the material, the lumber costs. And then we have, that's $1,050. Then we have the donated material for a 50-pound bucket of screws, metal corner brackets, 10 yards of compost and 20 yards of chips delivered. That comes to $931, and that's all donated material. And then the donated labor is to take the old beds apart. I figure an hour a bed to tear them apart and get them out of the garden, put them in the truck and haul them to the dump. And that's 18 beds at $450. And to build the new ones, figured an hour a bed to build them and put them back in place in the ground. And then we have to install 10 yards of compost in the new beds to bring the level up to where it'll be to the top of the bed. And then we spread 20 more yards of chips around the area that is donated. And that comes to $1,275 for a total cost of $3,256.89. And so we're asking for the matching donation of $1,050 tonight. You have something to say, dear?
With a deeper bed, the gardeners can grow better crops. Some of them are wanting to grow potatoes. We have a carrot bed that is for everybody, but with deeper beds, they can grow their own carrots. And some of them are starting to grow corn, which has deeper roots. So we want to make it so that every year we improve, and every year they can grow or experiment with more crops, increase the production. We have a lot of low-income and fixed-income people, so we try to make the most of it. And we really encourage successive planting and harvesting so that they're trying one crop early and go into another crop, then go into another crop, and just sort of learning. We mentor a lot of them. Every year we get at least one new gardener, and I challenge you to come down and find out which bed is a new gardener. I don't think you could tell. They do really well.
So on the cards there that,
These?
yeah.
Oh, well, later on, we'd like to tell you what our progress has been through the year, and that's where these will come in.
Okay, Matt, you have a question?
Yeah, for Robert, because this is a replacement of a current feature at the garden, that's consistent with the objectives in the master plan, right? I mean, there's no question you guys have done a lot of improvements there over the last year, 3 or 4 years, you know, bringing in the greenhouse and doing the solar work and everything else like that. And my perspective is I think you guys have done your homework on this. You've come with good invoice sort of.
I'm sorry, Matt, I can't hardly hear you. My one hearing aid is plugged.
I'm not touching the buttons.
It's me.
So-
It's me, my ear is plugged on it.
No, you're fine. Normally we can hear ourselves a little bit better in the room anyways, but anyways, all I was saying is over the last few years you guys did a lot, bringing in the greenhouse and the solar, and you're continuing to make very good improvements. I really appreciate the homework you did in getting the invoice and the quotes for the wood and everything else like that. I think you're bringing forth a very well-constructed grant application. It's not, the quotes and stuff are not necessarily in our packet right now, guys. We got them in email, I think last week. No, I'm saying in this paper, but we got them in the packet that was emailed, but we don't have it in front of us tonight.
Do you have the back?
No, we're good. I've got it on my phone. I just looked at it. But that's the kind of stuff that I think is really helpful, knowing what you're asking for and knowing what you're going to go forward with. And so I just want to say thank you. Good job on it.
Oh, thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't have any questions.
We need to have a motion to accept.
Yeah, I motion that we approve the application as submitted.
Second.
A motion and accepted that we accept the grant as written. All those in favor say aye.
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 Just a point for discussion, question. Are you going to be able? Are you doing this in the spring, or are you going to be able to accomplish this within the fiscal year as required by the grant?
When we plan on doing it? Hopefully we would like to start it in the middle to the latter part of November.
Oh, okay, so sooner then. Okay,
So
perfect.
be ready to go in
But
spring.
it would be spring before we could get the compost to put in it.
Yeah, That's fine.
but to get the beds built and in place.
But as far as the resources you're asking for, I mean, you can effectively turn in receipts and stuff to Robert probably July or it's probably January or February early, right?
Yeah, well, we'll hopefully we'll have all the boards, all the beds tore out and new ones in place, finished. And by the 1st of January.
Perfect.
It kind of
But it'll be
depends on,
March before we can get the compost.
it depends on the weather and how many volunteers we get at a time also, you know. When we put in that fence, it was postponed for several times because of weather. But because we're starting in November, we are letting the gardeners do their fall and winter planting as long as they can. We have a lot of gardeners who garden all year long. There's many crops that go all year long, don't freeze out. So we're trying to, you know, work around that also.
I mean, I think to Matt's point, the most critical thing is that you get receipts to Robert before July,
Yeah.
right?
Which sounds like no problem.
Yeah,
Oh, that will be no problem.
we'll be finished, we have to be finished totally by in April so we can start planting the gardens.
Sweet.
All right.
All right, so shall we vote again? All those in favor of the motion to grant the grant? Say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
Good job.
Well, thank you very much.
Sounds like you've done this before.
Now I'd like to tell you what we have been doing. That's what we're going to be doing. So, in January, you guys were generous enough to make sure that the garden's name was changed and honored us. We're very proud of that. And the Green Ridge Power completed the installation and did fine-tune work on the solar system. So that happened in January. So in February, the gardeners started actually using the greenhouse. The heat was on, the lights were on. They were loving coming down there and planning what they were going to do. So in March, we had a group of 20 volunteers and their leaders, 12 to 14-year-olds, the first day of spring vacation. Nobody slept in. They came down and they shoveled and wheeled 10 yards of compost into our raised beds and the compost bins. They wheeled and spread and raked out 18 yards of wood chips. They had raked the leaves, the dead leaves that had blown in. So then some of the gardeners started planting early spring peas. I don't know if you ever go by late March or early April. Jerry's peas are already halfway up the thing, and everybody's talking about them. So April, we planted flower pots and flower beds. We lost one gardener to death. And then the other gardeners agreed that they would take care of her plot and allow her sister to come and harvest. So that was in April. In May, we had a Boy Scout, Alex Kozowitz, I think that's how you pronounce it, a Boy Scout. He came and did this Eagle Scout project. He installed patio pavers under the pergola. And he built and installed a potting bench, which we had been wanting for so long. So we're all using that. We received a small grant from the food share, and we purchased some much needed garden equipment, hoses that this man had repaired all the hoses, I don't know how many times, taken them apart and clamped them and taped them and everything else. So we got hoses, we got hand tools, tomato cages, all kinds of stuff. We purchased and installed an arbor, more of an experiment for one of the gardeners who wanted to grow things, beans and things, and it's really pretty still. Jerry installed drain buckets under all 3 faucets, so now we don't have all these puddles, muddy puddles, and pools of water standing when somebody washes their vegetables or washes their hands. And then the gardeners still are planting. In June, June was wonderful. We're very proud of June. Marion Polk Food Share arranged for a photo shoot at our garden. We are the only garden out of 60 gardens in Marion and Polk counties that they did a photo shoot at. They wanted to use the photos for social media, print, all kinds of stuff to promote community gardening. This was the first flyer that came out in July. This is a mother and daughter first-year gardeners. On the back, we have a father and son. The son has he has autism and he has a problem. I'll think of it in a minute. Anyway, so we made sure that they took pictures of all the gardeners that were there to show our diversity. And we're really proud. This was the first flyer that came out. There are posters hanging in Marion Polk Food Share throughout the meeting rooms, the hallways, behind offices, and
All of them are
they're all framed.
12 by 16 photos.
They're beautiful. And the Facebook page for Marion Polk Food Share and other print material are out. This is a sample of the posters that are up.
Wow.
All right.
Good looking guy. Yeah.
Beautiful.
This was an extra one, so they let us have it. He wants to frame it and put it in our living room.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why wouldn't he? That's a good looking picture.
But there are pictures of some of the gardeners, and then there's pictures of different vegetables. And I tell you, it's magazine quality. They're really beautiful. Okay, so then, that was July. In August and September, everybody harvest, did more planting. We always strive to improve the garden and help the gardeners be successful, enjoy being down there and doing that so that they'll want to do it again. Gives them pride. And here we are in October. We're starting cleanup. We're asking for a grant so that in November we can start work on beds, and then December we sit back and start planning for 2020.
All right.
And we thank you, folks.
Yes, thank you very much. You
If it
make
wa-
it possible for us.
If it wasn't for this organization, we wouldn't have the garden that we have today.
You and the food share just are wonderful to us. And we enjoy it. It's kind of like a hobby.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes?
I just want to say, now that they're here, I wanted to thank them for, these guys are incredible. We had our ribbon cutting at CTEC, which happened to be on the advisory board, for our business and our new ag, by the way, who's a Kaiserite, was very instrumental in helping with the funding for our ag department at CTEC. Doug Zielinski, Doug and Jamie Zielinski are great. They're Kaiserites. And I look over there and there's our good Kaiserites. It's very nice that they're totally involved. And I know what they were pursuing. I hope you had any luck. If you haven't yet, we'll work on it. But I just want to let folks know how amazing they are, not just here in Kaiser, but throughout the whole city and school district.
Well, CTEC
And I
has
thank you for that, folks.
a program where young people can go in and build things. And so in the back of my mind, it wasn't just to go there and support them. It was to find that instructor and see if we couldn't get some volunteers to build the beds.
Yeah, they're over
So
there.
hopefully we're going to be working on that. And then, of course, colleges and then,
Well, anyway, I thank you for that.
there's
Representing
people.
Kaiser really well.
Thank you. We
So
enjoy,
you're more than gardeners.
we enjoy Kaiser.
Mr. Chair, since we're adding stuff, I would like to mention that I went to the Elsinore Theater last week and Peggy volunteers there.
Can you believe that? That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and I just wanted to second what Roland said, that same thing, like, thank you for all the work that you've been doing. And I think that that's just like a little bit of what you do is being reflected on those posters, because there's a lot that you do for this community. And I've seen your names throughout Facebooks and different articles, so I think you really do make Kaiser proud. So thank you for all the work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys definitely embody the spirit of what this grant program, I think, was intended to be. You know, you're not putting up big flashy swing sets or anything like that, but what you're doing is you're impacting the community at large and giving people an opportunity to learn a craft, to grow their own food, and to provide food to the food bank. And you know, it's pretty incredible to watch the work you guys have done. And you know, when you're ready to start building those things, let me know. I'll see if I can get some bodies for you.
Oh, thank you very much.
I think once we get this project in and completed, the park will be just about as perfect as you could ever ask for.
So that means you're not coming back for another grant?
There's always something.
There's always something.
There's always
Always something.
something. Okay, well, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
It's awesome. It's one of those feel-good ones you like, you know? I need to get a copy of that Jerry poster, though. Yeah.
Okay, new old business, memorial structures in parks.
So that's me. So this came about because in Claggett Creek there is a memorial structure. It's really beat down and overgrown by rose bushes and other weeds. And so I was just wondering, kind of, I guess the conversation went to what do we do with memorial structures, and do they have like an expiration date? You know, what does that look like? And so the one that's in in Claggett Creek Park, it's from 1992. So there's like a little stone there, and it was dedicated to someone who was born in Rose Sovereign. They were born in 1911 and passed away in 1992, and so I'm assuming it's probably been there since 1992. And so it's definitely Rose Sovereign, like sovereigning nation, SOVOIREIGN, I think. And so I looked through the park's ordinances, and there's really nothing on memorial structures. I don't know if that's the place to look, but there's nothing on like statutes of limitations when it comes to that, of when they might be like too old. So that's all I was really able to find out. And then I Googled the name and I couldn't find anything. So
It's a truss, isn't it? Like a trellis? Or
yeah, it's a trellis with, well, I assumed point in time there was roses wrapped around it, but the roses are overgrown and there's like birds' nests in there, and now there's like other weeds and bushes growing out of it, and it's kind of up on the side of the fence in the park. So it's just sad looking. It matches Halloween, but other than that, right now it's like, it's really sad looking any other time of the year because it's just been forgotten. To 1992 is the date.
Is that on the south side of the park?
North side.
It's on the north side.
North side?
Mhm.
On the west?
West.
West side, okay.
Yeah, on the west, northern
So the
side.
small
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but so you Googled the name and you couldn't find anything?
I couldn't find anything, and I Googled the last name, and I couldn't find anything either. So it makes me wonder, like, you know, probably the family is no longer in Kaiser. I mean, that's probably what the case. It's Sovereign. I Googled it. I couldn't find anything.
Well, 1992 is
Is
a few years before Google.
A long time ago. Yeah, so I figured maybe if there's still someone around from that family, there may be someone with that last name. So there's really nothing that came up. Mm-hmm.
The reason I asked is I was thinking this might be a project for the Kaiser Points of Interest Committee.
Mm.
But if you Googled the name and nothing came up, I'm wondering.
Yeah. So I'm
I
also
mean,
wondering
it seems like
maybe,
there'd be birth records or something, unless
yeah.
maybe it was a dog.
or who knows? I'm wondering if there's anything like maybe in the city archives.
That's what I was wondering, is like newspaper archives or stuff that hasn't yet been digitized to Google. You'd probably find something. There might even be some Kaiser Times
Yeah.
stuff that far back.
Yeah, it wouldn't be hard to go to 92 and find.
I don't think 92's too far back where we wouldn't be able to maybe bring something up. But I guess the question here is, you know, when somebody does have a memorial at a park, like what does the city do once it's been just left alone for such a long time? I mean, it's neglected. I mean, do we have anything, or do people, I don't even know what the process is. I couldn't find anything about that.
My first reaction on it, if it's a person, my first reaction on it, find out a way to maybe restore it or something. I mean, it's kind of one of those things, I'm sure there was some sort of process put in place at the time to put it in. I mean, they could have very well just put it in, I don't know. But I mean, if it's something that went through the city process to be established, I mean, it might be, Roland, you were around in 92, what was going on back then?
I'm sorry, I have replacement hearing aids, so you guys.
I mean, that's probably far, do you recall anything about that memorial going in back in the early 90s?
Yeah, I do recall, are you talking about the one at Kaiser Station?
No, the one over here at Claggett Creek Park.
No, I don't know too much about that.
Well, I mean, it's definitely worth,
Memorial
Like-
Park, I think of, I don't even.
the Ryan Seal, yeah.
I mean, it's definitely like a part of Kaiser's history, just to think how far back it goes and it's still there. It just, yeah.
Who's
Well,
been
and I think it raises a good question about like what happens to the signage and placards that go up today. How long are they designed to last, and what is our plan for maintaining and replacing those as they degrade in the next 50 years?
I think those are great questions. Something I will look into and follow up with you at the next meeting. I do know which one you're talking about. It's a trellis with a climbing rose that grows about 12 feet a year. It has been pruned multiple times since
And
I've been here, but
Yeah.
that thing grows and grows and grows. The trellis, I think the only thing holding the trellis together is the rose bush.
And it's like a chicken wire
Yeah.
type thing inside of
Um,
it.
You know, a lot of the plaques we order, I think, are designed to last almost forever, usually bronze or brass or something, but, and a bench or a tree, you know, a lot of times we'll plant a tree with a plaque under it, you know, that lasts quite a while. But this is kind of a unique one. And like you said, I have not read anything of a maintenance plan of what, you know, is to follow the installation myself, but I will definitely look into it.
Have you ever thought that the rose name, the type of rose is sovereign?
No, it says dedicated in memory to, oh, hold on, I took a picture of it.
Would like to see this
'Cause-
picture.
Oh, I can send it. It says dedicated in memory of Rose Sovereign by family and friends, 1911 to 1982. It's a tiny little
Oh, yeah, look at
stone and a plaque. So no, it's not a rose.
So roses are indestructible, but
And this
they
is
require a
the-
lot
this
of
is the
maintenance.
memorial.
Like,
Yeah.
once a week you should be deadheading it.
It's like it blends in,
Yeah.
kind of. But I can send the pictures. Yes, that would be great.
If it was me, if we could somehow track down the family, if there was any remaining in the area and say, you know, the structure that's there is dilapidated and falling apart and the rose bush is quite high maintenance, maybe they would consider replacing that into a tree that we could plant in the park, kind of a fresh start, keep the plaque in the ground at the base of the tree. It'd be something that's a little less maintenance. It would look great. It would have, you know, many years to grow. That'd kind of be my suggestion, but again, we'd kind of need to try to track down who may know something or maybe some family members.
Yeah.
Any other discussion?
No, I don't know. I don't really know where to start or as far as tracking the family down. I think I would like to look at like the Kaiser archives. I don't know if there's something like that. Because I would imagine they would have had to have come to a board meeting or something to put a memorial, right? In '92.
Yeah, but the
They-
city was,
The city was operating as a city by then, and actually, if they would have come to the Parks Board, we have the minutes from back then. So we can do a search.
Okay.
I can do a search for you. I'll see what I can find out. And if I can't find anything,
you.
I'll see
Yeah,
if
because
I
I
can get some
couldn't find
KPIC people to
anything
do it.
like as far as a family with that last name here in Kaiser. So nothing showed up from what I did, but it wasn't a very extensive search. So I mean, there's probably other means of doing that. The spelling is SOV E as Victor, EREIGN. Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're gonna email me the picture.
Yeah, I'll email the pictures out. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the rose bush is really big. It's probably like a good 15 feet tall. It's huge. Mm-hmm.
Should be cutting back pretty soon here.
Yeah, well, I'll send out the pictures to everyone.
So, Kaiser Rapids Security, but Holland is not here. Anybody know what he was going to talk about? It says security cameras, motion activated lighting, locking gates.
All of those things are things that were briefly mentioned, I believe, in August. I don't know anything further than that.
All I know is that road down to like Jerry Neprox. You go down there late at night and there's people hanging out all over in there. Between, like running into the fence and breaking it down and squirreling around the tree. And the cameras didn't stop them. But if you lock the gate up there where you get down, then you have to give like Jerry and his neighbor a key. Because they have an easement through there.
And who would unlock the gate in the mornings and lock it in the evenings? And it's a conversation we've had quite a few times with the neighbors. There's not a really good explanation of how to properly manage the gate.
Well, I noticed the gate down at the end of the golf course parking lot is no longer straight. It's more like a crescent shape.
That is correct. That is our third gate that we've installed there.
You need a railroad track on the back side of it.
People see a gate and they see that as a challenge to break through it with their large four-wheel drive trucks. We have lots of experience with that in that park.
That's sad.
Park reports.
Starting with me. Went to Clear Lake this weekend. It was nice day to go out there. It's kind of a nice little walk through the woods there, even though there's not very much of anything else there. Noticed the tree still has the graffiti on it. Looks like it had been painted over, maybe some of that.
Yeah, we did do some painting. Sometimes it takes multiple coats on trees because the bark
Right, 'cause it kinda
absorbs
chips
the
off.
paint very quickly and flakes off.
Okay,
So,
and that's what it looks like. It's kind of in the process of
Yeah.
diminishing over time.
yeah, we bought about 15 different colors of brown, gray, green,
Trying to
black,
get the right
trying to hide graffiti.
I appreciate that. And Meadows looked great. When you walk through between the two fences to get there, the one house on the right side looks like they're kind of hanging some Halloween stuff out in the park, which kind of gives it a nice look. It's nice that people kind of personalize it a little bit. And I noticed also that the one table got moved over, so it's over by the playground so people could sit and watch their kids easier. So it looks good.
Well, Donna's
Yeah.
not here.
Donna's gone, Clint's not here, so me. So Bob Newton, a lot of use. I was down there a couple weeks ago and a bunch of people down there playing on the courts and on the playground. A couple things happened at Chalmers Jones. I'm not going to talk about those. The one question I do have, a lot of feedback regarding this year more than anything, regarding the closing of the water fountain. Got a bunch of people commenting on why it was closing so early. I know it's generally related to how long you have temps on, but there was some other water fountains in the area that were open a little bit longer. So that might be something worth looking at in terms of your, availability, and maybe if we can extend it a little bit, especially if the weather permits. I know that's hard because you do have temps running that, and I don't want to, it makes it challenging, if not more impossible. But my thought on it is because it closed like 22nd or 26th or something like that.
It runs through the holiday in September. Is that Labor Day?
Right.
So we run it through Labor Day weekend, and we ran it through Labor Day weekend this year. It's always run through Labor Day weekend for the last 9 years. We didn't change the schedule at all, so I'm trying to I was a little confused. I think I saw
No, the
comments.
schedule didn't change. I mean, it's always been pretty consistent, but a lot of people
Uh-huh.
were commenting, you know, why can't it stay open
I
through
mean,
September?
the main
because it's
reason
hot.
we've closed it Labor Day weekends because school goes back in session the following weekend,
Right.
or following Tuesday rather, and we've figured that most parents are now focused on getting children to school. So, I mean, I suppose you could bring 3-year-olds that aren't going into kindergarten there, but
Yeah.
um,
I thought I'd just bring it up because I got quite a bit more random messages about it this year than I ever have. So
Does it run on the weekends in September?
no, it does not run on the weekends beyond
Beyond Labor
the holiday weekend. Correct.
I
Weekends,
just-
it's tough. Every time I have a temp run in the weekends, they're not with us on the weekdays. Or at least I lose them a couple of the weekdays to help do the general maintenance. So it's very much a juggling act. I always look forward to when the fountain is actually done running, so I can get that temp back on running weekdays with us and get kind of caught up on some last minute summer items. But yeah,
I imagine just this year, summer seemed to last a few weeks longer than it usually does, so that's probably why people are
pretty much.
asking.
I don't know. It might just be worth looking at in terms of your long range planning and seeing if there's value in keeping this temp. Could you keep them through September or?
yeah, I keep I generally let one go in September, one go in October, one in November. Now that we do have 3 temps finally, but it could be something we could look into. Run it just the weekends. If I could work
I'm
a
just thinking
schedule
even
out.
during the week, like the weekends probably aren't as big of a deal because that's when you got a lot of the fall sports and stuff happening. But for moms with younger kids, moms and dads with younger kids during the day
Yeah.
is really what I was hearing. So it's your business. Figure out what you need. Just wanted to bring that up as a comment. So
And so, Robert, what does the temp need to do to keep the water place open? Do they just go and turn on the water and then have to go back and close it, or is there anything more than just
There's a
that?
lot involved in running that splash
Can you share a
fountain.
little bit more of that?
Yeah,
'Cause
I
I don't
absolutely
know.
can. So just so you know, it is a system that recycles water. So it is treated with both chlorine and acid, just like a swimming pool. There is a electronic monitoring system that is constantly reading the water and making sure that it is safe to flow from our monitoring system out to the pad and up, which will now touch the kids, right? Because it's spraying out of the ground. If ever that senses the water is getting out of calibration, it will inject one of the 2 that I just mentioned, either chlorine or acid chemicals, into the system and keep the water balanced at a safe rate that we are given by the state. And they say your water needs to be within what's actually the county, within these parameters. And so if ever something goes wrong with that system, it will automatically shut off for safety reasons. It does shut off, not regularly, I'll say, but it definitely has its moments that it shuts off. And that's why we have a phone number listed there. It's directly linked to our temp's cell phone that we give him. And so he'll get a call, hey, the fountain just shut off, by a parent usually or something. He'll stop what he's doing. Usually I've got him maybe posting reservations over at Claggett Creek Park or picking up after a reservation somewhere else, And so he'll stop what he's doing, run back over here, attempt to diagnose the problem. There's no code that says, hey, it's this. It's kind of like, okay, now we got to figure out what the problem is to get it started. It will show if we're low on chlorine or acid or overfed, but other than that, we don't know why it did that. And there's a lot of parts. It has, for every nozzle that you see out there, is a valve that has a diaphragm. Okay, so each of those need to be cleaned and maintained regularly. It has a double sand filter system that the water goes through, 2 effects pumps, 1 main water circulation pump. There's a 1,500-gallon underground water tank out there under the grass that stores the volume of water which, by the way, on a 100-degree August day, we can evaporate all 1,500 gallons of that in 4 hours. I learned that the hard way one time we forgot to turn the fill valve back on after doing some maintenance, and it used all the water, and I went, how is this possible? And I was like, oh yeah, it's really hot out today. So we always thought we were recycling more water than we really are. So it's kind of an interesting learning curve for us there, but it's a lot of training involved. It's not something I could just hand to one of you and say, here, go turn the switch on. There are switches that need to be turned on, but there's way more than that. So I do send the folks who oversee any part of the maintenance of that to a training once a year that's done through the county. It's pool and spa training. So they are up on the new regulations and understanding what it takes to maintain and operate a public pool, because that is exactly what that's treated like, is a public pool, other than we are not required to have a lifeguard because there's no standing water. So that's kind of the difference. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good explanation of it overall. There's a lot of daily cleaning that's involved. So the nozzles out there get clogged with grass. We do not mow the outer 20 feet of that circle with our recycling mowers. We actually have to go in and bag the grass in that area because it'll get tracked onto the pad, immediately go into the filtration system and clog everything up, and then grass will start working its way through and get into our injection nozzles and out onto the pad and clog all the misters up. So that can be a huge problem just on its own. This is 9 years of trial and error experience that we've got it dialed into. We've made some custom tweaking to the filtration system ourselves. There's a spindle inside the cabinet that has to be spinning at all times. If it stops spinning, then it says I'm not sensing the water correctly, and that can be literally the most minute piece of hair you've ever seen to stop that spindle from spinning. You can only imagine there's 30 kids running around out there with popsicles and all kinds of stuff. Things find their way into the system. So
we need 2 more in the city.
Yeah.
that's why every time you say, let's get another one of those, I like laugh at you, right? Because I'm like, do you have any idea what you just said?
I brought this up as an idea for Kaiser Rapids 4 months ago or something like that, and Robert just stared at me, and then I got this, but in lecture form. Yeah, that's crazy.
That is crazy. I mean, you look at it, and that would have never crossed my mind. I mean, it's where kids play. But there's just so much behind it that we don't even know is going on.
Yeah, I know the city of Salem has changed some of theirs to be once and dumps, because if you can eliminate all of the recirculation, you don't have to have any of the chemicals injecting, which does simplify the system overall, but the amount of water you use goes up tremendously. So it's a give and take, you know. It's which one's better? I don't have the answer for you.
Just need to get a couple guys out there with a garden hose and spray kids.
Put some sprinklers out there.
That's just turn the irrigation on.
Yeah, just turn the sprinklers on.
So I don't want to steal Robert's thunder on Trumbull Jones, so I'm not going to say nothing more about it.
All right. Well, here's your turn, Robert.
Okay. I have quite a few projects that I am happy to announce are going quite well, have gone quite well. And the first I'm going to start off with is the skate park at Chalmers Jones. It reopened, I will say, yesterday afternoon. It's awesome. If you haven't been over there yet, I highly encourage you to stop by sometime around 4 or 5 o'clock when the kids are out of school and go see what they're doing. I just spent 30 minutes before this meeting talking to all the kids today, and I got nothing but thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is awesome. Oh my gosh, I don't have to drive other places now. Where, just lots and lots and lots of genuine thank yous. There must have been 40 kids over there just this afternoon, and it's only been open for less than 24 hours. I imagine this weekend that place will be absolutely crowded once the word is officially out. They are using every square inch of it again, which I have never seen in my 12 years that I've worked here. I have a list of items that were done to the park. I'll briefly read those to you just so you kind of have a gist of what we had done to it. So we did not tear apart and rebuild the entire park. What we did is mostly overlays. So we left structures in place for the most part. Maybe part of a structure was removed, but in most areas such as the bowls, we added new concrete over the existing concrete, which saved a lot of money from having to get in with heavy equipment and do demolition. Okay, so in the large bowl that was basically rebuilt, and it includes an arched doorway entry that you duck down, you skate, you drop into the bowl. You can bank over to the other side, which we had an elevated bank side added, about 4 feet higher than the old. I was watching kids in there tonight. It is amazing what they can do on skateboards. They'll hit that side, they come back over twice as fast, and they skate up and over this arched doorway, sliding on a rail. It's like, wow. I wish I was 17 again because it looks like a blast.
Well, Jerry was out there today. I saw him. Yeah, he was on a longboard.
Jerry on a longboard. The small bowl was rebuilt. Similar, left the bowl in place, added concrete over it. They changed the shape of one side just a little bit, so it kind of has a point that protrudes out, gives it more character, gives it more skatability, similar to a figure eight. They also poured a ramp that goes between the large bowl and the small bowl now, so you can pop out of the large bowl, go down this ramp, drop right into the small bowl, so it connected the two together. That was something that was really highly talked about in our public meeting that we had with the skaters, is to connect the two bowls and be able to skate from one to the other, so we made that happen. We rebuilt the half pipe area. The half pipe area was probably the worst for the transition point. So when you look down the walls in half pipe area, they used to be wavy and the bottom was real steep and it would just take your board out from under you, similar to what the big bowl was doing. Half pipe area is completely rebuilt, looks amazing. I saw there was a line of 7 kids standing there waiting to get in it tonight. Same with the large bowl. There was an A-frame structure, which is basically exactly what it sounds like. It looks like a miniature A-frame house that the kids just skate up and over. It's got a real pointy peak to it. There's a feature added over in the southwest corner called a corner taco feature is basically what it sounds like. It kind of looks like a taco. It's a corner ramp that's rounded, just kind of a bank. Really good for newer learning skateboarders, bicyclists, scooters. The wavy coaster ride is what I've named it. I don't know whether you would officially call it, but we used to have these little humps. There was 4 of them out there that you could kind of ride up and over. They took that concept and rebuilt it into this, I think there's 6 of them now, waves. So you ride up on it and it just goes like this. And then at the edge of it is a curb. So if you wanted to grind the curb on waves, you could do it, or you can just ride. And I saw a little 3-year-old girl out there on a scooter, a 4-wheeled scooter tonight, trying it. So it's good for all ages. I saw her and I saw, lots of teens on various items on that. And then we had the remainder of the coping coated. So any older coping that was still remaining in the park was coated with fresh paint, which helps the kids grind and slide on those better. And then we had additional sanding done on the rough concrete, because concrete has pebbles in it. As you ride over it over the number of years, all the fines start to work out. So you have to go in with diamond sanders and actually sand the concrete smooth again, which we had some of that done last time, about 2 summers ago, if you remember correctly. We had more sanding done in a lot of other key areas. So when you stand and look at it, it darn near looks like a brand new park. It's amazing. I'm really, really happy to see it finally finished and to get the type of feedback that I received tonight over there was very rewarding.
I have a couple questions.
Yes.
What do we know what the total cost was now that it's all done?
Yes, approximately $212,000 and some change. Which is
that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
What's our expectation for maintaining it in the future? Will it cost $212,000 in it's been around 20 years that it's been up. Will it cost that again and we'll just wait 20 years again? Or will we spend significantly less in 5 years, 10 years, that kind of thing?
Significantly less than that amount. The part of the reason that price was so much this go around, although it was only about a quarter of rebuilding the park, is because the park, when it was originally built, they did a great job for the time being. However, it was one of the earliest parks in this area. And so the way it was constructed in some of these key areas that we redid wasn't the greatest. It wasn't very friendly to skateboards. It was actually almost dangerous to some skateboarders. And so in order to make it skatable again, the transitions, and by transitions, if you don't know what I'm talking about, is basically where a wall meets the ground. It needs to flow smoothly, otherwise your board just goes out from under you. The transitions were built incorrectly, and so a lot of that was just us going in and correcting it. So it wasn't necessarily maintenance of concrete that we were doing, but more correcting a very early built skate park, I will say. So as far as maintenance goes of what's there now, the cost of that will be much, much, much less. Because now we're, maybe do some sanding, some minor crack repair if they show up, coating of the coping, sealing, things like that, but nothing this extreme.
Great. It's good to hear.
But that's a couple grand maybe every few years. And so longevity-wise, I mean, this is the biggest bang for the buck we could possibly imagine.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
The other thing I want to report on is the shade sail project down at Kaiser Rapids Park at the Big Toy. The posts for the sails are installed. We had them powder coated to match the similar color of composite material used for the posts that are in the park. So they blend in well. The colorful part that will come are the shade sails themselves. We've chosen, I believe it's 5 different colors that are similar to what we have currently at the toy. There's quite a few different colors down there. So those will pop nicely. We hope to have those installed in the next few weeks. They'll just be test fit and then removed for the winter. Those are not going to stay up year round. They are for shade only, water. The other piece of that puzzle is to have the surfacing repaired around the holes that had to be drilled inside. So we had the rubberized surfacing installed down there. We will have to have the rubber replaced up around the new posts in 8 different areas on the interior. And then we're working on redoing the landscape on the exterior. We got a little messed up with some of the heavy equipment that they had to get in there. And Willamette Manor tennis court, or sports court, I shall say, the concrete was poured down there about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago now. And basically because of the weather change now and the timing of getting the concrete poured, we're going to wait till this spring to actually come back in and have the tennis court surfacing installed. Okay. So they cannot install the tennis court surfacing with it being wet or under certain temperatures. So just to play it safe, we're going to wait till spring to install that type of surfacing. We will have the slab open and available for kids to play on through the winter, but we don't anticipate a whole lot of use just based on the time of year, and that will be getting new fencing installed around it as well. And then lastly, I know we had to cancel the parks tour. I don't really know how we would incorporate rescheduling that. It was talked about at the time to maybe try to reschedule it. But, it's going to be dark at 5 o'clock here pretty soon. So I assume the board is just planning on not rescheduling that, but I just wanted to bring that back up. That was a tour I was really looking forward to, showing everybody a lot of these projects we've done. But anyways, just thought I'd re-mention that and just make sure everybody was in agreement on how we wanted to. I don't even know how we would accomplish that.
I mean, the only thing we could do, I think in the near term, would probably do it like on a Saturday, but that would be really tough for you and Tracy and whomever else. I'm sorry? Is it you? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, even more so. It'd be tougher, it's kind of hard to give up a Saturday for that. So maybe spring, but I don't know. Just kind of my thought. I don't know. I mean, my Saturdays are fairly open, but that doesn't, I don't want to impact you or Debbie, so. Dylan doesn't want to do Saturdays either.
I'm open, either way, I mean, but
And with the, if we do it on a Saturday, is the city council members gonna be there on a?
It probably makes more sense to wait till spring though.
Yeah, I would say, why not?
I would be, yeah. I'd be interested in trying for a Saturday, but I have some doubts about that happening.
It's probably better just to wait till spring, I think. huh?
Yeah, I'm fine with waiting. Maybe we postpone that until spring, and then we kind of have another one, end of the summer. That's
Yeah.
that's good.
It might be nice. We'll be able to see maybe more parks too.
Yeah.
Do like after spring break.
Well, a lot of the projects will be wrapped up at least by that time, which would be kind of cool.
When are the sales going in for the summer?
We haven't made an official install date, but basically when the weather changes and turns nice, I mean, that can kind of vary a little bit. I'd say there's probably a 1 month window there, but on average, I would assume we would try to get those up in June and take them down into September, maybe. And we'll just start with that and try to figure out if that works for everybody. June's can be quite rainy, but we can also get some higher temperatures, so. I don't want to leave them up longer than they need to be, just because that will lessen the life of them. But keep them up when it's realistic to have them up and provide shade.
Taking a scissor lift out there to put them up, or do they have a mechanism for
I
it?
have no idea. Some of those posts are fairly tall, so we'll see. I'll be meeting with the project manager that we've hired for this, and they'll properly teach us how to install them once, and then I'll have to figure out how to get the crew out there and make that happen every year. So that is all I had.
Yes.
So Dylan remembers, I know David remembers, and I was here, and you guys remember. But we had a young man named Dean come in here. And Dylan and I kind of tried to work with him a little bit. But for those of you that weren't here, Dean was, your prototypical long-haired looking skater boy. And he came in here, and I think it was maybe my second or third meeting, I don't remember. And, sat there at that table and begged and, just said, can you guys fix this thing? And he was talking about the skate park. And I think that was the catalyst for a lot of us to really take the idea of finding a funding stream very seriously. And to be here, not even 4 years later, just over 4 years later, talking about the success of that, I think is really special. And the skate park, I think, in general, was the catalyst that got the city council to a point of wanting to pursue this. And so we're excited about it. We're seeing the kids out there. I saw them at 4:30 when I came down to meet somebody to go to dinner, and then I saw them again when I got back at 5:30. And but I think the council is really going to be very receptive and very proud of this. I'm proud of it. I think, I wish I could find Dean. I sent him an email the other day from the email address I had, and I said, you got to come check this out. And I haven't heard back from him. I don't know, he's probably like 20 something now, but
I actually met with him earlier this year, probably like February. He lives in the Portland area, and was teaching skateboarding classes to some kids and doing some like Uber and stuff. So yeah, he's doing good. Sounds like.
He needs to come and check it out.
Yeah, I'll text him and see if he wants to come down and visit.
I know.
it's just, it seems so routine to have this conversation now, which is really cool. But Robert, dude, you've been killing it this summer. I think I texted you at some point in June and said, how you doing? And you said, I don't know, I can't find my, whatever, because you were, elbows deep in a bunch of projects. And so a big shout out to you. And, you and your guys this summer, the parks are amazing. And, the volume of work that's happening, I think, it's funny because people are nitpicking the silly stuff now, right? And we're in a good place when people are nitpicking the silly things because, and just 2.5 years, you guys have catapulted Kaiser Parks to a level of excellence that you can't give up on now. And so it's cool. I mean, from Dean sitting here begging us to I flew my drone out there a couple days ago and got some really good aerial footage and stuff like that. It looks amazing from the air. I don't know. It's awesome, dude. Congratulations.
Yeah, indeed.
I'm sorry? Yeah, I'll send you some. Yeah, I mean, it can't be stated enough. It's a lot of hours sitting at this dais working through that process, and it's cool to have that done. Now we're just on to really big and even more exciting things in the next couple of years. So, good job, dude. Good job. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other comments? It's your turn, Roland.
First of all, I want to apologize for being late. I was, we had our meeting, normally it's in Salem, it was way down at the new public safety building. Council meeting was a night of awards, a lot of awards. And, I'm really proud of our mayor. I got to tell you, I was at the League of Oregon Cities conference in Bend a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I believe. And she was a recipient of the James C. Richard Memorial Award. And what that is it's only one award for the whole state of Oregon for excellence and exceptional service from a public service, from a public elected official, excuse me. And it was really cool for Kathy to receive that because of all the work she's done with the homeless and how she spread her wings out here. And she covers so many areas. And as a member of the council, I felt really proud to stand there with her and when she received that award. So that meant really a lot. And also, the city of Kaiser also received an award for safety from CIS for outstanding from OSHA, and that was another one of the awards. And another award was given to her was from one of our organizations I belong to, Latino Action Committee, which was actually for the whole city and the council for their strong support in our Latino recognition event, which we award 20 scholarships to 20 graduating seniors from McNary that we kind of pushed them through and graduated. A lot of those did really well, but we really are proud of their struggle, and some of them didn't even speak English when they started, and they made it. So so we got that award for her, and it was just a great evening. Also, at the council meeting, we had a proclamation for domestic violence awareness, and Jane Downing for Center of Hope and Safety, who is a good friend, and our district attorney, Paige Clarkson, were here and presented their basically what they do for Center for Hope and Safety, and it's a story by Paige. I don't know if anybody saw the meeting, but the story she told was very touching, and it was I get chills thinking about the story. But anyway, if you didn't see it, watch it on it was very, and it affects 1/3 of all women are affected by some form of violence, rape, domestic violence, and not everybody talks about it, and it's kind of a silent thing, and it's well to recognize that. Also, I want to talk on a brighter side. We have the Hall of Fame coming up on October 17th, and we are honoring our 2001 football state championship team, which is was a great, known as the Giant Killers, won the state championship. We're honoring Tom Smythe, a coach who was coach there. He coached for 2 state championships. And then also Luke Atwood, a great athlete, and Nikki Hayhurst, who grew up right here in she's an amazing athlete and went on to be everything at Utah State. So that was another, we're having that on October 17th. There's still a few seats available, so if you're interested, it's not too late. It's a Hall of Fame. You can look it up on McNary's website. And it'll be right here at Quality Inn. We'll have a social hour starting at 5:30, and hopefully some of you can join us. I know the city's going to be represented. Last thing on my thing, I did want to remind somebody, I promised I'd say about the West Salem, West Kaiser Neighborhood Association meeting here Thursday night at 7 o'clock. What's the last thing I had here? One more thing. Oh, yeah, I already talked about Doug. That's pretty much all. I mean, we're moving forward on the revitalization plan that we've got going, and it's very complicated, and even I am struggling with some of the, we have such a great planning staff that I kind of get that Shane and Nate do a good job, and they are very thorough in what they're doing. And there's a few knickknacks that we kind of want to kind of straighten out, but in general, we're moving forward, and it's a good thing for Kaiser. We're still gonna need some funding down the road, but that's neither here nor there. So, again, that's pretty much it for me. That's all I got, young man.
Thank you, Roland.
You're welcome.
Any other business? This is your spot.
Oh, sure, I'll throw one out there. November 9th, Clyde Creek Watershed Council will be doing a tree planting at the Kaiser Rotary Arboretum. That'll be at 9 a.m., so it's a Saturday, November 9th. We're gonna be doing a tree planting and probably some cleanup, but excited to get some projects going on that, and we're gonna be hopefully shifting gears just a little bit this year and looking to try to do some more. The problem is Robert's actually doing a really great job in the parks, so he's killed most of our projects. And so we got to get more creative and come up with some more ideas. And so I'm gonna work with Robert and Carrie Blaylock to see what we can come up with, and maybe see if we can do some more invasive species removal, maybe some riparian work or something like that at some of the parks. But definitely get into a little bit more focused attention to the streams and try to work on the health of the water. So. Again, November 9th, down at Kaiser Rapids Rotary Arboretum, and yeah, that's all I got.
Anyone else? It's hard, Bill's, Matt's a hard act to follow.
Yep.
All right, we stand adjourned at 7:08.